my name is Daria. I'm coming from Politecnico di Milano. We present a study which was done in collaboration with the University of Padua, with the Department of Psychology, about the cultural, technical, and perceptual barriers of fashion designers, pattern makers, and final users in approaching 3D body scanning and digital workflow. We were establishing a circular fashion tech lab with the idea of being a catalyst hub for the industry, trying to discover which were the clashes or the problems already in the system in order to offer to companies, to fashion industry, some services that are enabling them to approach the technology in a way to foster this digital transition with green transition. We started from a very nice approach. Okay, circularity could be fine, but actually we have a big elephant in the room of fashion industry, which is producing too much for people that are not buying. Trying to go back to this from ready-to-wear to mass fashion personalization. We might have garments which are produced for people on demand, which are now going to satisfy better their demand because they fit and are more personalized to them. There are technologies which can provide this change, particularly 3D body scanning and digital tools. That's why fashion industry are not yet approaching this, if technology is there. We wanted to understand how can 3D body scanning and digital technologies be integrated into fashion design workflows. We had 8 fashion operators and 23 consumers. This is the location, so we have a booth, which is an infrastructure light booth scanner, which is located inside the universities. We have been, of course, using manual measurement tape. Then we have had hardware, which is the cabin that you saw, the software that we used for parametric design is Simly 2D, which is an open software, and then we used the Cloud 3D software as a 3D modeling. From the perspective of the consumer, the negative aspects of pre-scanning diminished after the scanning. They had a general curiosity and openness to the scanning system. They felt it was precise, even though they didn't really saw the measurements, and they were interested in technologies. They had a sense of fear in a way that they felt a little bit scared. The pro was intuitiveness, speed of the process, precision of the measurements, while on the other side, there were some cons. So measurements were not exactly showing them their body. So the ones that wanted to show themselves were like a little bit shocked by the fact that we're not so recognizable, not just on the face, because it's blurred for privacy issues, but also on the body. There were certain differences. And then they were afraid of this lack of humanness from the process that could, in a way, cut out the human abilities and of the handicraft of making. And from the fashion operators, professionals, we had a diverse expertise. So we took designers, we took pattern makers, we took also educational people from the lab in our university. The advantages for them was allowing a process efficiency while they're creating thus their prototypes. So there were a lot of frustrating activities they were making into the process because there was a lack, they told there was a lack of seamless integration between different software tools. In particular, trying to understand the matching between the measurements and the landmark. Landmarks sometimes were mismatched with the manual measurements that they were using, and also there were missing measurements that they were generally using for doing the pattern as shown. Some of the digital avatar, because it's frustrating for the designer to get a result like this, which doesn't have to be really pushing the efficiency in digital workflow. And cultural barriers, and there was a perceived limits of the industry, the fashion industry readiness to take this technology. This was the workflow that we developed, and we found, of course, friction points that needs to be addressed before the fashion industry could take it. In particular, the scanning protocol and landmark definition to match craft knowledge that is included and embedded in fashion. The manual measurements control should be aligned, but also there were some positive aspects that could be highlighted in new ways of creating patterns based on measurements and personalization, and also the simulation and visualization of the 3D modeling tools are very powerful in order to limit the quantity of prototypes. Also, participants told that it's necessary a better integration among the technology side to the fashion industry together, and it's also required a cultural shift inside the industry.